Life is beautiful.
The Theo Bros Podcast.
How we doing? I am Mike Theo.
I am Nick Theo.
And you are listening to the Theo Bros Podcast.
Where you can count on daily wisdom to get your mind right.
You know this. I usually make phone calls on my way to work every day.
Yeah.
But a couple mornings ago, I tried something completely different. I started blasting the song from the 80s. I just died in your arms tonight. It came on.
A little karaoke session.
It came on. I was like, damn, I haven't heard this song in a minute. I blasted it full blast with windows down, and I just started singing at the top of my lungs. Oh, I just died in your arms tonight.
Yeah, keep your day job as a podcaster.
Yeah, no, I have no singing voice, but I'm just trying to paint the picture for you. Like, I was going ham in the car.
You were feeling yourself.
By the time I got to work, I was like buzzing. Like, my whole body felt alive, completely alive, like vibrating. I felt amazing. Then something really weird happened. I go to my desk. I open my one-line-a-day journal. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with a one-line-a-day journal, basically every page, you write one line a day, and you can see what you did on that same day up to 5 years ago. So I opened my one-line-a-day journal for that day, and I look at the year before, and it was a year anniversary that we were at the Tony Robbins UPW event. On the day that I just somehow decided to completely change my state in the car using music, which is exactly what we were doing at Tony Robbins UPW. And it reminded me of something that I feel like we had forgotten, which is his emotional triangle. Do you remember what that is?
Remind me of it.
Okay, so basically he says your state, your emotional state, controls your life. And at any point, no matter what is actually going on in your life situation, you can change your emotional state by controlling three things that form this emotional triangle: your focus, your language, and your physiology. Starting with your physiology. I did the thing backwards, but it's actually your physiology, your focus, and your language. I said it backwards.
So physiology meaning how you move your body.
How you move your body. And what I did was I combined my language with my physiology. So I was singing at the top of my lungs. So me using my body to sing and use that language, I don't even know what I was saying. I just died in your arms tonight. I wasn't like caring about the language, but using my mouth and my words put me in that elevated state. And it was just a powerful reminder that if you could just control those three levers, you can control your state, which is way more important than controlling your environment, because it's the only thing that is in your control at all times.
Yeah, I think that's the big idea here is state management is in our control and where all of our energy should be going to.
Yep.
And the way that you can get yourself in a better state is by just moving your body and controlling where you're putting your focus. And I was thinking about this, and I'm like,
and your language.
But I was thinking about this from the sense of it's so true that your state affects your energy level. And the real world example of this is, have you ever had to wake up for a 5 a.m. flight when the day you were going on vacation?
Yeah, you're wired.
You're wired. You wake up and you're just ready to go, right? And you're not like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, this sucks, right? No, because your state is programmed with excitement, and that is all internal.
Yep.
And that just shows you that how you show up.
So in that example, you're really talking about focus. So when you're waking up at 5 a.m. and it's work day, like that you're waking up for, you're focused on the fact like, oh, I'm so tired, I have to go to work today.
Yeah.
But if you're waking up at 5 a.m. and you're about to go on vacation, you're focused on the fact that you're about to go on this trip of a lifetime, and boom, that makes you more excited, and that lifts your state, that lifts your emotional state. So that was an example of like shifting your focus.
Yep.
Which, like we said, is in complete control of ours. One thing that I want to talk about is having an emotional home and having a standard for your emotional home. So me and you have two different baselines for our emotional home that we were born with.
Yeah.
You were born with, you can imagine like a thermostat, right? Like emotional home being a thermostat. And so a thermostat is set to a specific thing and then you can change it, but then over time it returns to that temperature that you set it to.
Yeah.
You have a super high happiness emotional thermostat where you are baseline happy, right? I have a low one, but what I've realized is the more that I keep practicing changing my state and setting my emotional standard higher, the more I'm able to over time shift my emotional standard and shift that baseline for myself on my emotional thermostat. So one thing that really helps me with that lately is every night focusing on the next morning and how I want to feel the moment I open my eyes. And deciding the night before I fall asleep, that the following day I'm going to live in a peak state and my emotional standard is going to be sky high. And setting that as my highest priority because I've realized if I can set my top priority in life to showing up in a peak state, everything in my life is better. Every single thing. It's the one thing, like you talk about leverage.
Yeah.
It's the one priority that, if done, makes everything else easier or relevant.
That's
right?
a good point.
So
It's the power of making a decision.
so I was tested the other night. I set this standard. I'm like, all right, tomorrow I'm waking up peak state. No matter what is thrown my way, I'm going to handle it in a peak state. I wake up the next morning, not to my alarm, but Danielle shaking me. Wake up, get up, Mike, in a panic. She's not feeling well. She was having like some sort of like reaction. I don't know exactly what she was feeling, but she shook me like way up and I was like, boom, immediately my thermostat was like, okay, we're moving. And I quickly said, no, we're in a peak state today. And so I calmed her down, and the old me would have let that completely wreck my emotional state because my morning is like so sacred to me. But I didn't. I kept that emotional standard high. I focused on the fact that she was actually fine. She wasn't going to the hospital and I was going to have a great day today. And I used my language and I used my physiology. And then on the way to work, I once again sang some songs. I said, I'm in a peak state. And I used that triangle and I had a great freaking day. It's so powerful.
It's really the power of an identity and deciding that identity you want as someone who lives in a beautiful state no matter what.
Yeah.
And
you know what I think about too? Sorry, did I just cut you off?
No, it's all right.
I think about like when you show up in relationships, right? When you show up to a relationship in a peak state, it makes it pretty impossible to have a bad time or to fight or to do anything negative, right? But if you show up in a crappy state, so like I'll give you an actual real life example. You come home, right? And your wife, or even more real life example for us, I show up sometimes before I was managing my emotional states and I'm in a really low energy state. And how does that impact you?
Tremendously.
Okay. What if you were in a low state coming into work and realizing I'm in a low state again for the 5th day in a row? How does that impact you? Let's do 2 scenarios.
Tremendously.
And what happens?
Usually fighting pursuit.
You blame me for my low state. I say, what about you? Look at your low state. And it's horrible. Now, the opposite. You come in a peak state. You feel great. You've managed your emotional triangle. Your focus is good. Your language is good. Your physiology is good. You went for a workout that morning. You feel great. You walk in. I feel like crap for the 5th day in a row. How do you handle it this time?
Definitely better. 100%. You're able to have more patience and understanding. And then I think you're also able to make the decision of, okay, maybe I need to get some space from this kid today so that I can keep and
make
preserve.
better decisions.
Yeah, you make better decisions.
Yeah, that's the importance of the peak emotional state. That's what I was trying to get at. So let's get into a call to action. I think it's to raise your emotional thermostat, raise your standard for yourself, but to be really specific, it's to do something that puts you in a peak state today. Use one of the 3 levers, whether it's your physiology, your focus, or your language, whether that's yelling at yourself in the mirror that you're freaking awesome, whether that's going for a workout, whether that's even taking a walk to get some blood flow. Do something that puts you in a peak state and keep an eye on your emotional states throughout the day and try to use those 3 levers to keep it high.
And remember, people, they will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget the energy you brought to the room, to the conversation. So if you need more leverage over yourself, realize that that's what people are going to remember about you. So before you go into your house today, make sure you get yourself in that peak. Before you walk into the office today and you see your coworkers for the first time, make sure you get yourself in that state where people remember you as someone who is living in a beautiful, beautiful state and something that they want to be around.
And even if you feel like crap, that's no excuse. You could still get yourself into a peak state by using these 3 things. If you feel like crap, go do something really hard with your body or really outrageous. Do 20 jumping jacks and you'll snap yourself right out of it. There is no excuse.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. We love you. Peace.
Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. If you're new here, we share daily mindset motivation in 10 minutes or less. So if that's your vibe, hit subscribe or check out another episode right here.